They say fame protects no one from pain. Not even the people we see as untouchable. And on that quiet rain-soaked night in Seoul, the world realized something unthinkable had happened. Lee Min-ho was in the hospital. And Kim Go-eun, she refused to leave his side. It started with a single news alert. No photo. No details. Just 5 haunting words that spread like wildfire across every platform. Lee Min-ho involved in accident. The internet froze. Fans refreshed their feeds endlessly. Searching for updates. Searching for comfort. Searching for anything to tell them that their beloved actor was okay. But silence followed. A kind of silence that only comes before heartbreak. Within an hour, hashtags began to trend worldwide. Hashtag pray for Lee Min-ho. Hashtag stay strong Min-ho. And then, a grainy image appeared. An ambulance outside a Seoul hospital. Flashing lights reflecting off the wet pavement. A figure being rushed through the doors. Surrounded by security and medical staff. People didn't want to believe it. But deep down they knew. It was him. According to reports that came later, it was a late-night drive after a long day of filming. A sudden swerve. A flash of headlights. And then impact. No alcohol. No recklessness. Just exhaustion, timing, and fate colliding at the worst possible moment. Lee Min-ho had sustained injuries. And though not life-threatening, the shock of it left everyone shaken. But what happened next? That's what turned a tragic night into something unforgettable. Hours after he was admitted, fans waiting outside the hospital saw a familiar car arrive quietly at the back entrance. From it stepped Kim Go-eun. Hooded, silent, and trembling. She didn't wave to cameras. She didn't speak. She just walked straight through those doors. Her face pale with fear. Her eyes glistening with tears she hadn't yet let fall. She was there for one reason only. Him. Inside the hospital. Sources say she waited outside the emergency room for hours. Unmoving. Hands clasped together, whispering silent prayers. Those who were there described her as calm, but broken. The kind of calm that only comes from holding yourself together when your heart is falling apart. Doctors moved in and out, whispering updates. And still, she didn't leave. When they finally transferred him to a private room, she was the first person allowed inside. And when she saw him lying there, pale still with tubes and bandages, that's when she broke. Her tears fell freely. Her hand reaching for his, as if her touch alone could pull him back from pain. Witnesses said she whispered something under her breath, a soft string of words only meant for him. And then, she stayed. For the next 2 days, Kim Go-eun refused to leave the hospital. She slept on a small couch beside his bed, skipped meals, ignored calls, and stayed by his side like someone afraid the world might stop turning if she looked away. Nurses tried to convince her to rest, but she simply shook her head. Her love, or perhaps something deeper, anchored her there. When the news finally reached the public that she was with him, the internet broke. People couldn't stop talking about it. Kim Go-eun hasn't left his side. Is this love or something even stronger? She's proving what real care looks like. It wasn't a scandal. It was admiration. The kind that comes when the mask of fame slips. And what's left is raw humanity. Fans began lighting candles outside the hospital. Messages and flowers piled up near the gate. Each note carrying a piece of the world's collective heartbeat. Some wrote, "Get well soon, Min-ho." Others, "Go-eun, stay strong. You're not alone." And somewhere between those handwritten letters and tear-stained photos, the world saw a love story playing out in real time. Not scripted, not planned, but heartbreakingly real. As the days passed, reports trickled in. Lee Min-ho was awake. His condition was stable. But Kim Go-eun? She still refused to leave. A staff member quietly shared that she'd been helping the nurses, adjusting his blankets, holding his hand when pain made him restless, and even reading to him when he drifted in and out of sleep. Her devotion wasn't loud. It was quiet, pure, steady. And then the photo came out. Someone from the hospital staff leaked an image to the press. Kim Go-eun sitting beside his bed, her head bowed, tears on her face, her hand gently holding his. No makeup, No styling. Just emotion laid bare. Within minutes it went viral. People around the world couldn't look away. The caption read simply, "She wouldn't leave his side." That one photo said everything words never could. It wasn't about celebrity. It wasn't about fame or image. It was about love. The kind that shows up in the darkest hour and refuses to leave. Fans flooded social media with messages of support. Some said, "Now I believe in real love again." Others, "They were meant to find each other." Even the coldest corners of the internet grew soft for a moment, united by one truth. That love, when genuine, is the most powerful healer of all. Days turned to weeks. Lee Min-ho's recovery was slow but steady. And through it all, Kim Go-eun remained close. When reporters asked her agency for a statement, they simply said, "She is supporting a dear friend during a difficult time." But the public already knew better. They had seen the tears. They had seen the tenderness. They had seen what words could never hide. One nurse later described a moment she'll never forget. She said, "Late at night, when everyone was asleep, I passed by his room. She was sitting there in the dark, holding his hand and whispering softly. Not crying. Not afraid. Just there. Like her presence alone was medicine." That, she said, was love in its truest form. When Lee Min-ho was finally discharged, he gave a small statement to the media waiting outside. He smiled weakly and said, "I'm grateful for the people who stayed by me. Especially one person who never left." He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. The entire world already knew who he meant. As the car doors closed and the cameras flashed, Kim Go-eun was seen walking beside him. Not behind. Not hidden. But right next to him. Her hand steady on his arm. Her face calm. Her eyes filled with a kind of quiet relief. That only comes when you almost lose someone who means everything. That image of them. Him leaning slightly on her for support. Her steadying him without hesitation. Became one of the most powerful moments in Korean entertainment history. Not because it confirmed a romance, but because it revealed something deeper. That behind fame, behind cameras, behind every smile on screen, they are two humans, finding comfort in each other's existence. Later, fans noticed something subtle. When Lee Min-ho returned to social media weeks later, his first post was a simple photo of the night sky. No caption. Just stars scattered against darkness. But eagle-eyed fans noticed a detail. A single bracelet on his wrist. The same bracelet Kim Go-eun had been wearing in that hospital photo. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe it was a silent thank you. A sign of the bond that pain had strengthened. In interviews months later, both were asked carefully about the incident. Lee Min-ho smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes, you realize who truly matters when everything stops." Kim Go-eun added softly, "Some people don't need to say much. You just know." And that was it. No label.